When starting the eyes, you should always start lightly and confidently. So you can see the overall eyeball that I started with, followed by the iris and the pupil. Now, when you start to layer on these light lines, please know that the very first lines you put down aren't always going to be perfect. You're going to make some subtle changes. This is why it's so important to stay light. You can see me using the eraser here because eventually you're going to want to erase away the lines that you use to outline all of the spheres, basically. I want to take the time to welcome everybody to my channel. Here I design creatures for you, I show you how I draw my techniques, and we talk about art. And I'm really, really thankful that people stop by and watch my content. All right, so you can see here that I am slowly but surely layering in a realistic eye. Now, a lot of times beginner artists want to jump right into outlining the big, bold details. That's a no-no. You got to build up those details. You can see that my pencil's sharp here too. I'm using a 4B pencil, by the way. It's just a personal preference for me. I've been drawing for a very long time, 40 years, and I've learned to narrow down my choice to just one pencil. But if you want to use multiple pencils, that's fine. So for example, if you want to draw the light lines, use an H, like a 3H, and then you move into the B's. But anyway, you can see here that the eyelids are slowly starting to take shape. In a little bit, right there, I'll just erase away the eyelid because another beginner mistake is that people will draw the eyelid, equal on both sides, equidistant. That's not how the eyelid rests on top of our eyeball. Our eyeball is a complex organ, and the skin that grows around it needs to flow with that organ shape. It's just the way it is. All right, so you can see here that I'm slowly building up the details of the pupil and all the little nuances in there. The outlines are never super outlined. It's more of a fuzzy take. So we as humans, we don't see in 8K. All right, so we shouldn't draw things in 8K that we feel we are seeing. For example, look around you. Everything is made up of atoms, molecules moving. Nothing is ever perfectly still. The edges of things always seem a little fuzzy, don't they? Well, let's try to portray our drawings as if we are seeing it in real life. That's how you make a realistic drawing, or help make a realistic drawing. Now, you can see here that I've slowly started to put in some shading around the caruncula, which is the tear duct. I masked that out or outlined it. And now I'm slowly starting to put in some values and cast shadows on the top part of the eye. Okay, because the eyelid, our top eyelid, actually casts a shadow on our eye, especially if the light source is from above. You can see the fuzziness taking shape too. And I kind of move sporadically too. When I see an opportunity to put in some cool textures and shadows, I take that. But look how lightly I'm putting it in. If you have a heavy hand, don't grip the pencil as tightly. But always keep your pencil sharp because that gives you the best markings. Now for me, and this is different for everyone, but for me, my arm movement makes the best lines in certain positions, and I never want to compromise that. So instead of moving my arm in an awkward position to achieve a line, I just turn the sketchbook and still have my arm at that angle that gives me the best chance of making good lines. Layering, layering, layering. More details in the eye. I gave a little bit of outline of where a highlight could be. Now I'm drawing on moleskin paper, so it has that natural cream color to it. I always liked it. It makes me feel like I'm drawing on an ancient manuscript, like old sketches from centuries ago. And here you can see the top of the eye is going to get more shadow again, and I'm starting to shade, but when I'm shading, I want to make sure that I'm building up very subtle markings instead of outlining things. we're going to let values play next to values. All right, so there's a little shelf on the bottom eyelid. We'll go over the importance of that in a second. So in here, on top of the eyelid, you can see that I'm going vertically and horizontally against the original line that I had, separating the eyelid from, the rest of the flesh inside the eye socket. Vertical lines there, turning the sketchbook, putting some diagonal lines in there. Might seem a little crazy and hectic at first, but give it a shot because you'll see the layering start to take effect. And also, by turning the sketchbook and hitting it in different layers, you actually start filling more grooves of the paper, which gives you better shading. The worst thing to do is use your finger. You never want to use your finger. Now inside here, you got that tear duct area and that caruncula area when I was shading before. And more shadow will start to go in there too. But that's where the brow ridge meets the bridge of the nose. That little area inside there where there's a lot of shadow within the skull, within the eye sockets. And right there, that layer that I'm focusing on, there's a layer of fat that sits on there, and I'll go over that in a second. You see how I'm putting in these eyelashes. A beginner mistake is making even eyelashes, and they're all beautiful and they're all straight. That's not how we grow. It's not how they look. So you can see that most of our eyelashes are chaotic. They crisscross. They're cool looking. They're pretty, but they crisscross. And they're more sporadic on the bottom eyelid than they are on the top eyelid. So when I move up here to the top, you can see how the direction of the eyelashes are following how the eyelid is covering the eye. See how they come towards us and then they're crisscrossing and then they move out to our right side? That's when they kind of dissipate and they get a little longer at the end too. So our eyelashes are a little thicker on the top anyway. And rightfully so. It's evolution because we don't want things like dust and particles falling into our eye from above, which is why they're thicker and longer. So those of you that are new to my channel, you probably know by now that my shading technique, I use 5, 6, 7 different directions until I get what I want. You can use all kinds of techniques. You can use graphite powder. You can use a blending stick. You can use a really nice soft cloth, whatever gives you the best shading. All right, now another area that I want you to focus on. See that shadow that I'm putting in the bottom of the eye? That's often overlooked because the eye is rounded, and as it's rounding back in to the eye socket, there's shadow underneath there. That's a little core shadow. This is that layer of fat that sits directly above our eyelid. So you definitely want to put that in. Just look in the mirror too. You'll notice it when you look in the mirror. And you'll really see it when you light your face from above too. There's something satisfying when the shading starts to work. You can see that area right there at the end of the eyelid, the top one, how it's really smooth in all directions. That's what you want to achieve. And if you're finding this helpful too, I run a private mentorship. Please check the links in the description for our Discord too, our Creature Design Workshop Discord. So that's my focus. I've been in the video game and movie industry for 10 years now, and I've done a lot of creatures, a lot of characters. That's my specialty, but I love drawing people, and I love teaching this stuff. And my mentorship, just email me at bobbyrebholtz@gmail.com if you want to set up a consultation. I can give you the fee for it, and I can tell you all about it and how it's conducted on our Discord too. Our Discord's hitting 6,000 members, which is crazy. All right, so back to the eye. You can see underneath the eye, this is another overlooked area, but equally as satisfying because the shadows that you can put that are underneath the eye or the bottom eyelashes, it's so much fun. Now, there is merit to outlining certain areas, but you want to still stay fuzzy for the most part. Remember what I said before, you want values to play against other values. That's what's going to give you a very realistic approach and feel for your drawings. Now, I could sit here and spend another 5 or 6 hours on this, but I'm not going to because I want to show you that it is achievable. This entire eye, even though the first the 3/4 of this video were sped up. I drew the eye in about 30 to 35 minutes. And there we go. Just some subtle play on some cast shadow of the bottom eyelid. Obviously, this is a younger person. There's not as many wrinkles down there. Okay, there we go. Now we're really starting to see the eye take shape. I hope you found today's lesson helpful. This was a lot of fun too. Also, I got a lot more videos coming up on anatomy. We got lips, noses, we got hair, we have chins, and feet. Thanks everybody. I'll see you later.